Good morning. It is noisy. It's turning out to be another lovely day. John is currently in the yard using the sander. It seems like whenever there's a really nice day, you can't sit out in the peace and quiet in the sunshine because John's doing some task outside with the power tool. Anyway, he's sanding something for me though. We are renovating an old desk that's going upstairs in the hobby room. So he's sanding off some filler that he did the other day, and once that's done I can get a coat of paint on it. It's going to be part painted, part stained and varnished. It's quite old, and John's dad did some work on it back when John was a kid, and it was once used to put the knitting machine on. So when John was and all his siblings were kids, his dad had this desk in the living room with the knitting machine on, and he would make them all like random multicoloured sweaters and hats and things on it on an evening. So it's not, although it's very old and probably antique, it's been messed about with decades ago. So John has done some more changes to it for me, for my purpose. So it will be going upstairs so that I can put my sewing machine on it, but also he has widened one of the side cupboards, the side cupboard, there are drawers in the other side, so that I can put my printer in it and have it on a slide out shelf. And that way if I need to print off patterns I can just take my laptop upstairs and print stuff off. So I'm looking forward to getting this upstairs, because currently all I have is a drop leaf table. In fact, I could show you how far we've got so far with the hobby room. I might do that first thing actually. So as you can see, it is an attic space. It isn't a proper room by any means, but it serves its purpose. So we just got a carpet for in here a couple of weeks back after doing some work on the floor that needed, some of the joists needed some work. So when you come in, I have my wall of yarn on the gable end wall. It's not completely arranged yet, and things have just kind of been put on kind of semi-organised. On this side I have my crates of fabrics, and eventually this will have a big long desk along this wall before we get to the window at the corner, which still needs painting and what have you. You can see where the paint line stops here. That's the original yellow paint. This is the new yellow paint, but it still needs some work around this window yet. So there'll be a big long desk that I can use for various artworks and crafts for both me and John up here, although he won't be doing anything too messy up here. And then on this side I have this old drop leaf table that I think was gifted to his parents when they got married, and I've just put one of my quilts over that need ironing properly, and I think I'm just going to leave this quilt on here whilst when the table is not in use. And this space over here is where the desk is going to go, and I'll be able to use that for my sewing machine. But currently all I have is this drop leaf table. I did have another desk up here for a little while, but that has gone downstairs months ago and is being used as a temporary dressing table in the bedroom. So whenever I've been making my dresses, I've pulled this drop leaf table out completely across the back here, so I can't get to my arms, and put both leaves up. So I've had my sewing machine at one end and a kind of a pressing station at the other, with just a folded up flat sheet and a little travel iron that I use for pressing things up here rather than the big iron, because generally speaking if I'm going to be pressing a large piece of fabric I will just use the ironing board downstairs, and then the little iron just gets used for things like pressing seams. So I'm looking forward to getting my desk up here. I'm painting, well, I'm leaving the top wood, leaving the drawer fronts wood, and the carcass itself is going to be painted a nice dark teal, greeny teal colour, because the colours in here are going to be yellows and turquoisey tones and teal tones. kind of standing in semi-sun, semi-shade here, so it looks a bit weird. But I've masked off the desk, which is over here, and I've masked off these side panels, which are going to be left wood. And my hands are really sore already because I've been breaking up more kindling like I did yesterday. But I was waiting for John to finish sanding this. That's going to look awful on camera. That's the bottom of the desk. You can see how old it is. It's really grotty, but you're not going to see underneath anyway. It'll look nice when it's done. Not the paint I'm using. Let me see if I can angle this down instead. It is quite a teal green, and I just want to get a first coat on so that it can dry whilst the sun's out. It's a satin wood, so it shouldn't take too long. It'll take a few hours, but with the heat out here, at least it'll be dry when it gets put away. And then when the first coat's on, I'll be able to see if there's any places that need refilling again before the second coat goes on. So that's what I'm going to do now. The desk is really coming along. I'm done most of the work on this now. So the paint has had 2 coats of, well, it's had 2 coats of paint where it's going to be painted. And the drawer fronts have been resanded, and they've had a coat of just a slight stain on them, just to give them a bit of warmth. And the same goes for the top as well. So all it needs now is varnish on this, probably 2 coats with a sanding in between, and the handles are these old copper ones. These, I think John's dad probably put these on in the 60s. They're not the originals, because you can see where it's had some patchwork done on it in the past on these drawers. And also these legs want sanding and staining and varnishing. Well, depending on what colour they are, they definitely want varnishing, possibly staining. These are not original either. This desk apparently was considerably bigger than this at one time. This was before John can remember, so it must have been when he was little. And apparently it had 2 cupboards and a set of drawers, so it must have been quite a bit longer. Although the top doesn't look like it's been cut down, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe the drawers weren't there and there was just 2 cupboards. But that doesn't make sense either, because it's the same grain patterning. I don't know. Anyway, there's some history to it that we have no idea of. But originally this desk was probably only as low as what it is now. I mean, it's on stands now. It didn't have these legs. John's dad added these legs to give it extra height, so it must have been a considerably shorter desk. Maybe it was a dressing table. It could have been a dressing table. They're usually quite short. Anyway, this is nearly done, and hopefully we can get this upstairs tomorrow. I'm being completely blinded by the sun here. So if you were here for last year's Vlogtober, you may remember that I harvested some carrots and put them in this truck full of sand. Now, I used the top view, and then I completely forgot that the carrots were in here. So I've been walking, and I walk past this bucket several times a day. I haven't added extra water or anything. So the other day I thought to myself, I wonder if those carrots that are still in there are any good. So I had a dig around and I pulled out the top carrot. And this is the top carrot. Doesn't look like anything at the moment. If I brush off the sand, I'm gonna have sand everywhere. That to me looks a good carrot. And the sand still feels like it's got a bit of moisture in it. Let me go rinse this off. I'm back. It looks pretty good. Maybe a little woody towards the end, but that was probably the carrot to begin with. So I'm thinking carrot soup might be the next soup I make. Because if I dig my nail into that carrot, I don't know, maybe it's alright. I think they'll be okay. I mean, it feels firm. It doesn't feel rubbery at all. It seems pretty good. We'll find another one, shall we? Let's see. It's like some one of those things at the fair where you dig around inside and pick a parcel. Yep, that one looks pretty good too. In fact, that looks better than the first one. What else have we got in here? This lucky dip. There might only be 2 carrots. Let's see. Oh, is there any more? There should be some more. Maybe there's only 2 carrots in here. I think I'll need to dig this out completely. Anyway, so far I found 2 carrots. And that is a year they've been in there, because they've been in since last Vlogtober. So I'm rather impressed with that, considering I just left them in and completely forgot. The sand was originally dampened, not soaked, just dampened, and that still feels damp. It's still clinging to my skin. So I would say that is a success if they can last a year in long storage. That's the first time I've done that. I'm quite impressed. It's very heavy. You really want to put them where you want to keep them. I've pulled this bucket outside here and it's heavy, and it's only a relatively small trug, so you definitely wouldn't want like a big galvanized bin full of them and then have to move them. So I would say this is a really good way of storing carrots. I've heard of other people using compost, like a sterilized compost, like a multi-purpose compost, and also wood shavings, which would be considerably lighter. I follow somebody called Heather Brueggemann, and I've followed her blog years and years ago, way back when we used to read blogs, and she puts her carrots in sawdust and it seems to work rather well, but I haven't tried that. Maybe I could get a small bag of pet bedding. That should be fairly non-toxic. Maybe I'll give that a try next, but not this year because my carrots were complete fail, which is a story for another day, because it may take some time. Right, I am in desperate need of a shower and a cup of tea before I make dinner, because I've been sanding wood that was treated with woodworm treatment the other day, and I didn't wear a mask because I like to fly by the seat of my pants. No, it's too hot and sticky outside, and I couldn't face the thought of wearing a mask and sanding at the same time. So I just told John I'll just not breathe while I'm doing it. So yes, I'm very dusty, very dirty, and probably very toxic right now. So I'm going to, I don't know what I'll be doing for the rest of the evening, probably knitting and flaked out on the sofa. But it has been another lovely day out in the garden, and we don't get many days like this at this time of year, so you have to take advantage of it while you can. Much as I'm desperate to get upstairs and doing some sewing, I have some project bags I really want to make. I've been wanting to make them for a few days now, some autumn themed ones, so I better get my skates on. But if I can get this desk upstairs, that would make my life a lot easier for sewing as well. Right, I'm going to leave this here. Okay, so if I don't have anything else to report today, I shall see you tomorrow.